Views and opinions expressed are not necessarily those of the staff or management of the Flavors of Northwest Arkansas podcast.
Well, Merry Christmas, and welcome to this week's edition of the Flavors of Northwest Arkansas podcast. We are in Bentonville, and we're talking to Kevin Girkins. He is the owner-operator of the super popular Archie Sandwichery. But first... That's right, we have some breaking news for you today. You know, we love talking about grand openings, anniversaries, and all the fun things. That said, we don't like talking about closures, and sadly, that's what tops food news today. We learned yesterday that Fox Trail Distillery and Rogers will be closing their doors. They remodeled their tasting room in February, and it was gorgeous, by the way. They also did a holiday pop-up in late November and had been giving tours of the distillery. They'll be officially closed on January 1st. Now for some good news, the Fort Smith food truck Desi Fusion's last day will be January 4th because they're building out their spot in Springdale, which they plan to open on February the 2nd. It'll be at 2576 West Sunset in the same strip as Silk Road and Red Wing Boots. Keeping it just down the road in Springdale, Potbelly Sandwich Works opened last week across Gene George from the Sam's Club. They're at 5671 West Sunset. If you're keeping track, that's the second Potbellies to open in NWA in the past month, and it kept owner-operator Tiffany Montgomery sprinting.
It was a lot, not a lot of sleep. But it's so worth it because then we're able to just bring entire communities together. You know, we love Northwest Arkansas. We're from here, went to the U of A, so we just really wanted to be able to maximize everybody's experience. We know that the drive to Bentonville is, not a fun one sometimes. So we wanted to prevent that and be able to get everybody into our shops as soon as possible. We're so excited.
Construction is a full go at the soon-to-be PJ's Coffee in Rogers at the Summit next to the Vista Apartments. If you're not familiar with PJ's, it's based out of New Orleans. Think bold coffee, beignets, along with specialty coffee. No official date's been given as of yet, but it's expected to open early next year. There are only 5 tables left for the Marcus Samuelsson Chef's Takeover Sunday night, December the 28th at the Seven Ponies Restaurant at Choctaw Casino in Pecola. Listen to this menu. First course, coffee-cured duck with foie gras, Asian pear, puff rice, and caviar. Second course, grilled prawn with braised fennel, tomato, uni broth, and pasta. Third course, buckle up for this one, duo of aged ribeye and barbecue short rib with lobster ragu. That comes with sweet potatoes and crispy Brussels sprouts. And the fourth course will be rum cake lordy. Get one of these 5 tables quickly, ChoctawCasinos.com. I'll be there. Hope to see you there as well. And this week's Flavors Flashback, we listened to one of my favorite Mike Engleman home pro tips of the week. And it's with the great Darwin Beyer of Meiji in Fayetteville. Darwin, what do you have for people that are at home that are just kind of not looking forward to another dinner and something sounds good and they're thinking, Japanese sounds good. What do I do?
Oh, well, that's for my household. I've got two young sons, and 2 things that they really like a lot is tempura shrimp and fried rice. I mean, yeah, they can munch that stuff down all day long, or the fried rice goes with them during lunch, so I heat them up, stick in a little thermos. So the big tidbits on tempura shrimp is use cold water, ice cold water when you fry it. So cold water or cold ice or cold soda water, add that with your tempura batter, and then drop it in. It makes it way crispier, way fluffier, way lighter. It's way, way better. And then add a little bit pinch of salt or any kind of seasoning you want to, and it adds a whole different flavor to it. Or you want to spice it up.
Huge tip.
Yeah.
I never even heard of that.
Yeah, it's amazing what ice soda water will do.
No kidding.
Yeah, it's and then fried rice. This is my mom's recipe, and hopefully she doesn't hear this and I don't screw it up. So how she always did it, she would take bacon and cook off bacon, and then she would get the fat from the bacon, take the bacon out. Yeah, exactly. Everybody loves bacon. Yeah. Yeah. Right. And then so she'd take the bacon out, put it off to the side in an oven, let it dry out a little bit. But she would use the bacon grease as the oil, and so she would fry the rice off. Put your egg in first, put your rice in next, or your veggies, however you want to do it. A little bit of soy sauce, salt, and pepper. And then as she was almost done, she would take that crispy bacon and throw it back in. And my kids just smother that stuff.
If you don't like that, you just don't deserve it.
Yeah,
it's that simple.
It's true.
You're all right.
Against fried rice altogether.
We'll be right back. Kevin Girkins got into the restaurant business initially because his dad caught him red-handed doing something illegal. Seriously, it's a funny story. He's from Austin and moved to Northwest Arkansas to help build and run a popular franchise in Bentonville. It took a fortuitous turn at his next stop, which gave him the confidence to start his own spot, which is what he eventually did with Archie's. Why a sandwich shop in Bentonville? Kevin will tell you why. Also, where did the name Archie's come from? Well, there's a portrait on the wall in Archie's that'll explain that. We talk with Archie's owner-operator Kevin Girkins, and that's next, right here on the Flavors of Northwest Arkansas podcast.
Teachers are dynamic leaders, shaping a new generation, innovating to prepare students for our fast-changing world. They're skilled experts, discovering a universe of solutions, telling stories, inspiring, mentoring, connecting cultures, leading by example. Teaching is a journey that shapes lives. Are you ready to begin? Explore teaching at teach.org.
And welcome back. We are at the very popular Archie's Sandwichery here in Bentonville, and we are joined by well, not really namesake, but we're joined by owner-operator Kevin Girkins. How are you, bud?
I'm very good, thank you.
Good,
for having
man.
me on your show.
Well, I appreciate you giving me time here. I know that you guys, you can probably hear it. I know if you look behind the camera, you see a bunch of people jumping because tomorrow is a very big day, and this will have already happened by the time this airs. But yeah, you got a big day coming up tomorrow. Tell them about it.
We hope it's a big day.
It's going to be big.
Yeah, we're doing a little pop-up with the first of hopefully many to come. It's something that we've talked about for a while since before opening, but haven't really had the frequency to be able to do so. But good friend, Chef Daniel Ernst, who's been in the area for a long time and well outside of it too in his career of chefing, he's helping us put together a special pop-up list of Sammys for tomorrow, or sandwiches.
Heck yeah.
And hopefully some of them will turn into long-term specials as well.
Very cool. Good for you. Yeah, expand that menu, baby. Let's see it. Bring it out.
See what we can do with that.
We'll get to the food side here in a second, but the first time you and I met, I was actually just here. I got wind that the place was opening up, so I came to get some exterior video, and there's this guy inside with a sander just going crazy. I'm like, I'm just going to go in and let him know that I'm not some murderer out here with a camera. And it was you, and we talked for about 3-4 minutes, and I accosted you as you were sanding these beautiful bowling alleys, which are your tables.
That's correct. Yeah. It took many coats of sanding and polyurethane, even a little bit of other materials. But we had, myself and a good friend, Johnny, he had this crazy idea of helping me build the bar, helping me build out the restaurant. Very nice and economical of him. But in the
that's always good.
Yeah, we definitely. I know a lot of people open restaurants on a dime, but I feel like we stretch our budget as thin as we could.
Sure.
And all that good stuff. But he had this idea to do a retired bowling lane bar top, and we. About a week later, after this random idea, it just continued to resonate with me as far as what I wanted Archie's as a brand and customer feel and tangibility to be, and the kind of, I guess the history of bowling alley bar taps, gives a nostalgic vibe.
Sure.
It kind of goes into a lot of what I think that our key customer base is.
It's a very unique aesthetic.
Yes, yeah. But it also feels like you've seen it before somewhere, right? Like it kind of takes you a second to realize that, these are actually bowling lanes. It's not just like some nice layered wood. But we drove up to, I think it was Viburnum, Missouri. Kind of, was closer to St. Louis than it was to us.
Oh, gotcha.
And there's a gentleman who's selling some retired bowling lanes that were built in the 70s. And we cut them out right there, put them into the back of his van.
Wow.
Put them in storage, which is essentially his garage. And Johnny helped out in many ways. And we were able to cut the size and then place and then do most of the finishing work, which is what you saw us doing in place. And kind of the key demographic that I think we're really trying to serve is a solid 25 to 45 kind of young families.
Sure.
And I'm hoping that when kids come in, they see bowling lanes, they see a dog on the wall, they see bright colors, but then adults kind of see the same thing and they feel the earth tones. They feel like, oh, this is familiar. This is what people used to do with their families 20 years ago. And
it's great.
Hopefully touches a lot of different strings there for folks.
I mean, just completely nailed it. I get it. You can tell that coming in. Yeah, you really can. I really believe that. So let's get back to the beginning. Where exactly are you from?
So, born in Florida, moved to Round Rock, Texas when I was about 5, 6 years old. Dad got a job kind of thing. Round Rock's just a little suburb of Austin that's now turned into something way bigger than even Northwest Arkansas has to offer. But very typical. Ended up working in sandwich shops and stuff like that when I was younger and a teenager, and then moved into Austin, which is 20 minutes south as soon as I could.
Right.
And but yes, that's also kind of the start of a lot of inspiration for this place too.
Yeah.
I think I worked in probably 3 different locations of one place, and then at Jimmy John's for a small stint, and stuff like that.
Yeah. So I would think, and listen, there was one summer where I worked in a pizza shop, a chain that will not be named, but at the end of the night, very wrongly and probably illegally, before we would leave, we would all make our own pizzas, and they would be like 5 to 10 pounds. I mean, they would be everything and so heavy. Is that how you would always leave the sandwich shop?
I mean,
come on, off menu, make your own, take it home.
I always like to joke, one of the reasons I was having to get a job at the age of 15 is I got caught smoking some weed. my dad was like, I'm not paying for this. You better figure it out. And so getting a job for the first time. And funny enough, the job was very lax, and we spent many a night there, making some big sandwiches and doing stupid stuff. But
sandwiches got bigger after those escapades.
Yeah, exactly. Yes.
Great.
I worked in one for about 6 years and definitely made a lot of friends in small communities.
Good.
You always do with work.
Sure.
But yeah, that was kind of the start.
That's great. That's great. So you worked in restaurants growing up, and skipping ahead, how did you go from? And I'm assuming you came from Austin, Northwest Arkansas.
Yes. So I spent a good portion of my 20s cycling and working in the bicycle industry. And there is another concept here in Northwest Arkansas called the Meteor. I kind of hit a fortuitous timing, if you will, serendipitous, where I was exiting cycling, and they were also a very deeply rooted restaurant deeply rooted with cycling.
Sure.
But a restaurant, they had a bike shop attached. And they were looking for somebody to kind of help out to get to opening and all that good stuff.
Yeah.
I found myself doing anything I could, sweeping floors, whatever. I want to help out. They're a big supporter of the cycling scene and still are. So it felt like an opportunity for me to just help them get to opening day. But then it turned into, let's make this bike shop actually work. Let's get it going. How can I help out with social programming, such as leading rides or doing other things like that to help activate the business? And at the same time, they wanted to open a store in Bentonville. So I found myself going back and forth quite a bit to help out with that. And eventually it led to, we got to get this store open. We got to make sure it runs right. Let's get you up there and put in a place to make sure it succeeds.
By the way, super important for that here.
They took a big chance on me the way I see it.
Yeah.
I didn't have a ton of immediate background in management of restaurants.
Sure.
Right? So it was learning ground, but at the same time, I think that the community base that we have here is obviously cycling focused.
Sure.
And with some of my background and what we did in Austin, they felt there was an opportunity to do it again here.
Yeah.
And the downside was that we opened up and I had to go back home. We did like a week-long grand opening party.
Gotcha.
Went back home, moved all my stuff up here within a week or so.
Yeah.
And as soon as I got here, about 2 weeks later, maybe, COVID hit. I stepped into general manager position very quickly and had to fire half the staff, sadly.
Oh, that's the hardest thing ever, man.
Yeah, we didn't even get our foot in the door yet, it felt like. And so it was a tough process, but as I think most people know, Meteor's still there and still doing great. They have a couple more locations now, and so survived, weathered the storm, and got stronger because of it, I think, too.
Anyone who's in ownership or GM or any of that role during that time, especially when it happened, and you got to lay a lot of people off, I can't imagine a tougher role. I just can't.
Luckily and sadly, I think that people knew what was going on.
I think so.
It wasn't a selfish or...
not really vicious.
Correct.
Yeah.
But no, it's never easy, of course.
Ugh. So how long were you with Meteor?
In total, about 3 years.
Okay.
That's what got me up here, and the long-term anticipation was I'd be here a couple of years and then move on to something else, open another store, who knows what. But I never expected Northwest Arkansas to be a long-term home.
Yeah. How did that change for you?
To be quite honest, when I first moved here, it was not the best of times. As I was just talking about, I had a lot of change all at once, switching between careers, new place, didn't know anybody, new career path, all this stuff.
Yeah.
And it wasn't my favorite place, to be very honest. It was so small in comparison.
Sure.
And so after a while, though, I think you can only be a Grinch for so long about where you are and start acquiring a different mindset about how you're going to help and change, or stop being a problem and be a solution kind of deal.
Sure.
And I think that really helped me out personally in where I was and how we were growing as a business. But then I got an opportunity to work with the Bentonville group.
How did that happen?
Man, it's a great question. So
you're still trying to figure that out today, or
a little bit, so there was a couple of folks that were regular customers of the Meteor that were kind of the brainchild of this new idea.
Gotcha.
And they were in the store multiple days a week. Loved what was going on, and they thought that with what we were doing and how it was growing, and overall it could be a good fit for their growth and my growth to come on at an early stage when the idea was just getting at the seed stage. Mm-hmm. And so heard them out. I thought they were a little bit crazy. Just in the sense of like, why am I here?
Right.
And then I did a little bit more research into some of the chefs and who the greater group was forming from and into, and it seemed like it would be a dumb idea not to take these folks up on it. And hats off to my old bosses as well. They were like, yeah, you'd be stupid not to do this. This is a great opportunity for growth. Go.
It's pretty good when they can do that for you.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So I got to work with multiple Michelin level chefs. Got to travel a little bit, which is always important to me. I love traveling.
You bet.
And eventually, it really ignited a different viewpoint yet again of maybe I do have the ability to start something on my own. Maybe there's a need for something in the community that I think I could do well. Mm-hmm. And here we are.
Here we are.
Yeah.
Well, with that reinforcement, did you start to get the itch, and getting the itch to do it in Northwest Arkansas as opposed to back in Central Texas, and et cetera, et cetera?
Pretty early on, I should say, maybe a few years back. Not super early, but a few years back, I kind of decided that going back to Central Texas, I don't have any family there anymore.
I see.
And there's not much of a need, and also not that I would be by any means a big fish in a small pond, but there's a lot more chance for opportunity of growth here than there is back in my old home. So I think that the idea to do it here was a no-brainer, and the community here is obviously very cycling centric, but there's a whole lot more than just that. So to me, there was very much lacking a need for a sandwich shop.
Great.
And something that was counter service, something that was fast but also healthy, and has the ability to grow with the community here. So that's been a major linchpin, if you will, of my entire concept or model. Is that one store is wonderful, I love it, but if I have to be here all the time, there's no point in doing it.
Understood.
So growing with the community, though, having multiple locations across this area is very important to me, and I think could be one of the ways that you see other businesses, such as Wright's or Onyx, or that you can count them off, but there's other restaurants that have done an amazing job of growing with the community and figuring out ways to support the want as well as the needs, whether it be nonprofit events or whatever.
Sure.
But I think we can do that in a very low-touch service model.
Yeah.
And I always like to joke that Archie's is a kind of an anti-chef business.
Oh.
I'm not a chef by trade nor background, and I think that most of what we do is prep and assembly.
Yeah.
We don't have a vent hood, we don't have a flat top, we don't have a gas line.
Yeah.
We do our best with fresh ingredients and bringing them in an eclectic or great combination together so that you have an amazing product. But
I feel like we're using the word unique a lot.
yeah, we try.
Yeah. At least in this show, for sure.
And I think events like what we're trying to do tomorrow with the pop-up are fun. We get to exercise our muscles a little bit, but for the most part, a day-to-day operation, there's not a real chef in place, right? So
Sure.
I really don't mean that in a negative way at all, but part of the ability for growth is creating great SOPs that don't need a singular person in charge and babysitting or being there for the menu.
Sure.
And so, I like to joke a little bit about that. It's kind of like, I'm not a chef. Anybody here a chef?
Right.
No, I don't
Right.
think so.
It's funny, you look back a decade to where you were, and all of a sudden you're a business owner in Northwest Arkansas with expansion on the horizon. Don't know how near, but is that something you could have ever predicted a decade ago?
No.
Yeah.
No, definitely.
It's crazy how life works.
Yeah, you look at myself 10 years ago, exactly. Entrepreneur mindset was never there. Don't know how that really worked out. I could probably retrace some steps, but it still seems a little bit awkward. Even when we finally did get to opening, it was still just like, I never saw this coming.
Right. Well, how did you find this spot?
Yeah, so I have, as you can imagine, living here for well over 5 years now. I have a handful of friends in the community, and riffing on ideas with your friends is one of the best ways to come up with better ideas.
You bet.
So it was no secret by any means of what I was trying to do or what I was hoping to do, but in that process, you have to have a location. Location dictates a lot of what your floor plan is going to be, how many staff can be there, how many people you can serve, so many things. So it's a very integral part of the concept and the model, but finding it is challenging. And
that's the
luckily, I have a couple of friends that were able to recommend, talk to a gentleman named Jake Newell of Newell Development.
Okay.
And we were 1 degree of separation pretty much, and asking him about, you're in property development, what is there any opportunities? And I don't really feel like it was taken very seriously at first, maybe.
Understood.
But we talked a bit more about the idea, and it became quickly evident that this could work in the space allowed that is 280 North Walton Boulevard.
Yeah.
And part of the bigger development of Kohler Crossing. So it was, yet again, I don't want to say it happened very easily by any means. I checked out a handful of places, but it definitely was part of the community that you reach back into. You ask your friends, hit the pavement, if you will, a little bit. But you work with the folks that you know, and you're able to find a lot of resources right around you.
I'm feeling you got a gut feeling the second you saw this place.
For sure. It's a beautiful, it's a tiny piece of architecture, I'm sure, compared to a lot of other projects that people work on around here, but it's a very pretty one. And the ability to be on Walton, to have a, if you will, built-in client base with the apartments. And it's not a downtown on the square location, but I don't know if that's what we want. So for us, I think pushing the boundaries of what is downtown is also important for the brand. And accessibility. We have some of the heaviest street traffic in the area right at our doorstep.
Absolutely.
It made a lot of sense.
Yeah, absolutely. So it's local. It's a local place. In the past, you have worked for and with franchises. There's kind of a big difference there, and I know there are franchises that have local owners, and those are a little bit different too, but a lot of times people think that this is part of a franchise, which it absolutely is not.
Yeah, it's been one of the biggest pats on the back, if you will, in some ways. That people think we're from somewhere else, and it still is a resonating comment consistently with customers that come in. Where did you guys start? Where are you from? And it's very reaffirming to be able to say, here. This is it.
Yeah.
I am the owner, the person you're talking to, and
This is the one.
The idea is still in its infancy, really.
Yeah.
I hope so. And the downside that we've seen over time is, I think that personally, I want us to be tangibly local. I don't think that you can go to another fast food restaurant on Walton Boulevard, whether it's a Chick-fil-A, McDonald's, Taco Bell, whatever, and feel the same kind of warmth that you will here.
Well, yeah.
And I'd like to think that we, between the architect and designer and myself, all the people that helped out, we really we scored a big win getting all these pieces that bring together the puzzle, right?
Right.
But we scored a big win with that kind of commentary. But yes, it's, one day if we're really lucky, we'll have multiple locations.
Absolutely.
Right? But until then, it's right here. It's the only one, and even into the future, it's gonna, even with multiple locations, it's gonna stay as a small me ownership that's gonna be local in Northwest Arkansas.
Absolutely. So, we and especially when you get to the other ones. Now that you've done one, I'm assuming it'll be easier. You'll learn from what it was like getting the doors open to this one. What was that like, finally getting open? Because I know everyone has hoops and hurdles to go through, but tell me about yours.
I think most models or concepts are going to start with a pro forma. You can say that I want to sell burgers, or I want to sell pizza, or I want to sell Sammy's, whatever. But if you don't know the equation of what it means to be successful, then you shouldn't start, or at least that's where you should start. And so for me, it was very much a confidence in the idea, but now I have to back it up with numbers. Now I have to make sure I'm confident in more than just an idea, but the business. And so building the pro forma was its own little learning point for sure. Yet again, had help from friends, which is a major benefit.
So now, for those that don't know, explain what a performa is.
Yeah, so it's something I wouldn't have probably been able to answer a little over 5 years ago myself.
Yeah, there you go.
Ultimately, building out what the business financially looks like on a day-to-day business, a day-to-day basis, a quarterly basis, and an annual basis to lead to success. Ultimately, it takes money to start a business, and how long will it take to pay that back to the bank, to investors, to yourself, to your debt? And if you do get that back, how much can you stand to make in the long run? I think that, like many business owners, you might start from a place of frustration as I'm unhappy with my job or whatever, but I think that that's good and well, but if you're just creating a job for yourself to be in a restaurant, that's not what I wanted to do.
No.
So it had to be finance first, passion second.
Sure.
And for me, at least.
Well, it's the smart way. you can't let passion get in the way of numbers. Or you shouldn't, I guess. I mean, listen, I don't have a restaurant. I've only worked in them, and not recently at all. That said, gosh, I would think the numbers would speak louder, because you've got to back it with your life before you and that's then when the passion kicks in. I'm guessing here. Please back me up and tell me I'm crazy.
I don't think you're crazy.
Okay,
I just don't want to tell anybody else that they're crazy.
I'll take it. I'm fine with it. You go ahead. Yeah.
But yeah, what does it take to break even? What does it take to make payroll? What can I forecast in the first year? What can I forecast for the third year?
Yeah.
What does it take for me to be content? What am I able to pay myself, if anything? All those things are built into a pro forma, as well as your cost of goods and your menu and all that stuff. I think that a lot of people think they have an idea of what that looks like, but then putting it on paper so that you can, show the landowner that you have a workable idea. Yeah. Show potential investors, show even your staff that what you're hiring them for is logical. It's not crazy.
It's great.
Transparency, and that helps out a lot. I think that when they know you might be sacrificing or you're succeeding, they understand that as well. Yeah. And
that's important.
If there's not a roadmap, then it gets a little scary, I think, for a lot of people. They don't want to blindly follow, right? And I don't want to blindly follow my passion if I can help it.
Sure. Speaking of scary, your first week with the doors open, you guys crush. Except midweek, you had to close during a rush and completely do some revamping. Tell me about that.
not exactly sure how it happened, but we did a couple of friends and family events.
Okay.
They were slam dunks, more than we anticipated.
Right.
That should have been a forewarning for me,
Uh-oh.
maybe, but nobody, well, I don't want to say nobody. I didn't expect or forecast for what we got. I was anticipating that it would take some time for us to work into the model that I created and work into ourselves. Luckily, we live in a community where people are excited and they want new things.
Yeah.
And they heard about us, which is the other weird thing. How did so many people get the message that we were opening?
Social media, man.
It is working, absolutely. But yes, we got about midway, 1 o'clock, into our lunch rush on a Saturday. We had a line to the door. I was understaffed. I was underprepped, underprepared entirely for what was hitting us. And at one point, we had 2 rails full of tickets and a 45-minute wait time for a sandwich.
Oh.
And I think my staff was pretty buried, just emotionally, as was I. And we had to just, I have a guy, luckily at the very beginning, that I designated will be my GM when I have the opportunity to create that position. And I remember pulling Alex aside, just like, hey, do you think that what we're doing is the expectation we wanted to give people? And his response was, I don't know, I kind of trust you, man. This is rough, though. And nobody wants to make that call, and that sadly was, of course, what I'm supposed to do. And I had to say, make sure everybody knows that paid, they're going to get taken care of. Those that haven't paid, sadly, we have to ask you to leave. We appreciate it, but we can't handle it. And that was a pretty low point.
Yeah, that's humbling.
Yeah, I remember I had one of my friends sitting here at the bar that helped out a lot, and he was watching it happen. And I was not in a good place.
Yeah.
It kind of hurts to turn people away when you've been wanting that for so long.
Understood.
But I still think that we did the right thing in the sense of turning people away and giving, even though it's not what you want, it's better than what we were providing by telling them to come back another time.
I think so.
But yeah, we prepped up. We redid a few things. We cut the menu in half. We decided we needed to have 2 stations that reflected each other, not independent of one another. We needed to obviously put more people on staff. But talking about forecasting, we were doing double what we expected.
It's amazing.
Wonderful problem to have, but it's a problem solving while on the fly. And we always anticipated that we would be open from 7 a.m. to 10 p.m. We just pushed that back. We still haven't opened up at 7 a.m. yet for that very reason. We haven't had the bandwidth to understand how to get there yet, because we're dealing with the growth pains of just being a 10 to 10 business 6 days a week. But I think that it rallied the staff around pretty well, though. The ability to say, we are so busy that we have to be on point. All too often you start something, you're slow, staff gets sedentary, they're not really interested in growth. Instead, we're lucky with the people that we got.
That's great.
Yeah, we've been.
Not everybody can say that.
We're really lucky. We've got great staff.
That's great.
Yeah, forecasting has been the biggest issue, not labor.
That's great. Hey, listen, a lot of people would trade with you immediately. They would. They really would. Especially some people I've talked to. They just say we can't get to where we want because for some reason we're not able to staff to where we want. And
the first time we ran a 2-week payroll, I was really caught aback. It's like,
your eyes popped out of your head.
This is a way bigger number than I expected. And then the next week it was even bigger, and the next week it was bigger. And so we transitioned to a weekly payroll, which helped, I think, a little bit, but also that was the new norm.
Yeah.
And now we're settling in. But there was a point there after a few weeks where I was especially questioning whether or not we should have a host at the door.
Oh, gosh.
Like, maybe we don't let people in unless we can serve them until we're ready or something. And it's definitely gone through my mind a lot in the sense of if we have table service, we can meter the line. But when we have counter service, anybody can show up at the frequency they want, and everybody's on the same schedule.
Well, and I was going to ask you about that because they're both so very different. And judging by your background, it sounds like you've worked at both places that have both. Well, places that have one and the other. I didn't mean both at the same time. I think you know what I mean. Anyway, But that is really and truly the main difference, I think, from a crowd control. I hate to say crowd control, but from that perspective.
Yeah. With counter service is wonderful because you can have so many unique transactions per day. There's
Right.
so many individuals that you can serve and take care of and give an experience to. The downside is you can't, like, even if you're totally sold out of reservations for a sit-down restaurant, you can expect what to expect.
Right.
You can put a weight limit, you can put a wait time, right?
Sure.
And I don't pretend to know those complications very well, but we definitely tried thinking of ways to slow it down because we can't just tell a line out the door into the parking lot that, hey, we're gonna talk really slow at the register and we're gonna push buttons like a sloth because that's just not what people want to see.
No.
And we can't tell people in the back in the kitchen and making sandwiches to do the same either. They have to just work faster, harder to keep the ticket times low, to keep the expectations high, and to keep the customers happy. But I think that's yes, I've definitely worked in counter service primarily, and I'm really gun-ho about it. I think that we need more options like that here, locally speaking, in Northwest Arkansas. And
we just have some fast-paced environments where people just need to get in and out. And I think that plays into it as well, from a customer side.
For me as a customer as well,
Yeah.
I love to joke. A previous boss of mine say that, especially young families, which is one of our key demographics, don't want to go into a restaurant and be held hostage by the time that the experience is. And
100%.
Like
I get that.
it's a great experience. Nobody's going to doubt that.
Oh, no question.
You go to some of the restaurants around here and it's phenomenal. But if you are trying to get out of a situation with a whining kid or whatever, you're trying to do something casual, it feels like you are kind of being held to a standard of experience, which is great, again, but maybe you just want it to be casual. Maybe you just want it to be fast-paced. Maybe you just want to take your food and go to the park. That sort of thing. You know, you want to. It's not the usual for a lot of the smaller local businesses, but there's a handful that do it, and they do it well. And so I wanted to kind of join in that and create something that was, there's always the financial side too, less overhead
100%.
and things like that.
Yeah, 100%. No, it plays into it as well. I understand, but it's all part of the experience. But it's also part of the convenience. And right now, convenience is a huge, huge thing.
I'd like to think so. It's been a pillar of our success so far. And even when things are starting to level out, the weather's gotten a little bit colder and we've slowed down, I think that's still going to continue to be a major part of where we succeed and how we continue to grow. Yeah,
for sure. Tell me about, and a lot of people live and die with these, and reviews. Anything from 5-star down to 1-star, and it's kind of a thing you just kind of get. I've seen some folks reply to bad reviews before, and I understand the valiant effort, but I also understand the feeling that they have when they see it, and it's not great.
Some people will leave 0 stars if they could, right? 1 star is the least you can get. So that's what every owner of any business, especially restaurateurs, really don't want to see. And I think that, I know that early on we had a handful. It was less than 5 stars, thankfully. Our ratings are still in the 4-star range or above, but it definitely hurts, absolutely, to see that. And in some cases, I can see why they're upset. And then in some cases, you just don't understand.
Sure.
And that's valid as well. But you just have to know that it's going to happen. If we were able to serve everybody perfectly, there'd be something wrong. I think we would be doing it wrong if we were able to do that, or our business model would just be different. And so some of those 1-star reviews, right? I've had some real goofy ones. We've had individuals that come back multiple times and give us 1-star reviews for items we don't even offer. We don't even serve. And that's okay. Nobody's.
Is it though?
Well,
is it?
I don't like it, but there's no gatekeeper on this, right? If somebody wants to be a keyboard warrior about their bad experience, they're allowed to be. There's no gatekeeping on,
of course,
this ability to leave reviews, and for many good reasons. But yeah, as a business owner or somebody else that's considering opening, or even to some of my friends that have recently gotten 1-star reviews for their restaurants and they're having a hard time dealing with it.
Yeah.
It's just going to happen, and you have to get used to and focus on the 5 stars.
Sure.
Use 1 stars as learning where applicable, but focus on the 5 stars and the people that you know you can serve well. But yeah, Yelp and Google reviews, man, I don't know how.
Do you wake up and that's one of the first things you look at every day?
No.
Okay, good.
No.
Good, because that's not healthy.
Yeah, so as you mentioned early on, I responded to every 1-star review. I took into consideration and tried to welcome them back with the understanding that their bad experience was not their fault or my fault. It's just a chance to try and bring them back.
Yeah.
And I think if you are writing responses to reviews, for me, I'm not responding to that person. I'm responding to anybody that's looking at this. So
That's a fair point.
We don't want to target customers. We want to target resolution.
Yeah.
Just like any relationship, you want to be looking at what the future could look like better. So I responded to all of them. And then after a while, I definitely got lazy and just I can't deal with this.
Yeah.
I'm more worried about the length of the line than I am a bad review. And now I've definitely had the time to accommodate, and I've started getting back into replying to those and making sure that people know that they are being heard. It's not just a message board for them to talk to the world. You're talking to the owner as well.
Bless you, man. That's a tough thing. I mean, but I've also seen owners get combative on there and really kind of fire back, and it really gets toxic really quick.
There's nothing wrong with that either. I like to think that restaurants are one of the most they're one of the biggest industries in the world.
Sure.
Anywhere you go, there's somebody selling food.
Yeah.
So you can sell any kind of food you want. You can be any kind of owner you want.
Yeah.
Whether that dictates your long-term success or not is up to you. And I think that firing back at customers is your prerogative entirely.
Yeah.
Not something I generally want to do, even though you'd love to sometimes. But it's a response.
Yeah.
I think that the other thing that we tried to do is, well, hey, what are these common threads in our low ratings?
Oh, of course.
I think that, and this is something we're acting on currently, where we are changing our menu to potentially accommodate or not accommodate. But I think that we have had a handful of people that want to have a sandwich that is like a burger. It's meat, cheese, and one ingredient. And that's just not an Archie's item.
Yeah.
And the more we try and accommodate that, the more we try and let people down, essentially. So if they want a product that they can make themselves, which we have a piece of the menu that's called the Stack Your Own. We're not going to stop doing it, but we're not going to advertise it anymore.
Yeah.
I think that people who come in looking for an ability to create their own item could also be looking at an ability to have a bad experience. And I want to try and mitigate that. And also, Archie's, our sandwiches are, anywhere from minimum 6 ingredients to 10 plus.
Yeah.
So the more you bring down that ingredient list, I think the more you take away from what we're actually offering and what our items really are.
Yeah.
We are not a high-end restaurant by any means, but I would think that if you went into a high-end restaurant and asked the chef to plate you something entirely different than what's on the menu, they'd probably be a little upset.
So you get the hell out of there. Give that seat to somebody else and kick his ass out.
Yeah,
get him gone.
I mean, anybody who comes in, I'm happy to have them, and we're going to definitely serve them exactly what they want as best we can.
Right.
But if we can mitigate some of those experiences, that's what I'm trying to take away from that feedback, and that's really what I try to see it as. It's feedback.
I was going to ask you something earlier, and we went down a different path, but who is Archie?
Yeah. So you might be able to see behind me, there's a big picture of my dog,
Right
Archer.
there. I don't know if you can see. Right there.
Archer is a primarily beagle and coonhound.
Okay.
And about 2.5 years now, he was abandoned up in a dog park kind of on the Bella Vista and Bentonville border.
No kidding.
And I hadn't had a pet in a while.
Yeah.
But a good Samaritan, Jeff, who turns out 1 degree of separation between us. We're both from Austin. We both know a lot of the same people. He was nice enough to recognize the situation and take in Archer, but he realized he also couldn't take on a pet at that time. So because the the shelters were full, he decided to try taking Archer, who was then a 2-3 month old puppy, to other dog parks to see if he could find somebody that was willing to take him on.
Yeah.
And we met each other at Bentonville Brewing.
Okay, yeah.
He has a very big doodle something kind of dog that comes in that's adorable, and then this tiny little 3-month-old Archer, and it was very adorable. He knocked over my beer and tried drinking it and told me the story of all this stuff, and I was like, oh man, give me 24 hours to think about it, but my mind was already made up.
Sure.
Took him in, and then kind of to your point also, who is Archie? Why did we name this place?
Yeah.
Archie's, his name is Archer, but when he's a good pup, we call him Archie. It's kind of the slogan that I like to go with.
Good.
But also, man, the name was one of, and this is probably not what some people are going to want to hear, but the name was one of my least important things on my checklist to get this place open.
Okay.
Branding is important to me.
Sure.
Having an establishment that has a feel, menu, obviously, all these things, pro forma, finance. But in reality, the name was something that I put on the back burner for a long time. And but eventually it came to the forefront of we can't move forward on what a brand is or what the feel is going to be unless we have a name.
Yeah.
And so I had 10 different names. Some of them are now names of sandwiches and stuff.
Sure.
But as I use my amazing friends as a polling community.
That's great.
Going through the names with them, I'd always kind of say, yeah, and I mean, if I can't figure it out, I'm just going to name it after my dog.
It's great.
Everybody was just, that's the one.
That's the one.
It's that takes no effort. That takes no thought. It's that's why it's great.
Well, yeah, exactly. What were a few of the other ones?
So we're about to have a sandwich called When in Doubt.
Okay.
I think that the business that we're trying to go for with coffee, beer, cocktails, sandwiches, it's kind of an easy go-to. It's something that doesn't take a lot of planning or effort, so
Sure.
you can be a when in doubt. I had a all hands on deck is one that I messed with for a while because when things get busy, whether it's a boat or a kitchen or whatever, it's I need hands. I need everybody here.
Yeah.
And so there's a lot of sandwich shops in D.C., in Madison, in San Francisco, back in Austin, in Tulsa, all over the place that I took a lot of inspiration from.
Nice.
And trying to put together a formula of 3 words, abstract, doesn't speak to what they offer at all.
Right.
There's Your Only Friend in D.C., as well as Compliments Only. There's a Palm City Wines in SF. There's just so many that I pulled from and tried to create or use a formula. But at the end of the day, a formula is not something you can do for a name or an identity. You have to come up with something that's its own.
And I have to tell you, man, Archie's sounds like a neighborhood place.
So this has been another issue or compliment, whatever, with our franchise versus local. Because I think that a lot of people are familiar with an Archie's business from wherever they came from, or if you look it up online, there's an Archie's somewhere.
Okay, that's
it's an identifiable name, and it's definitely not something. We've had so many customers that come in, and it's my son's name is Archie, my grandfather's name is Archie.
Nice.
So it's not like it's a one-off in that respect as far as a name is concerned, but it is an identity. Yeah, I hope it kind of comes into its own.
Yeah.
But yes, familiarity is absolutely part of why I think people,
it's great.
When I was polling, if you will, enjoyed it and liked it and still do.
Excellent. Well, I'll tell you what, you ready to get into the food?
Let's talk food.
We'll do that. We've got the Mike Engleman Home Pro Tip of the Week, and that's coming up next right here on the Flavors of Northwest Arkansas.
Let me show you something.
Connect with us at Flavors of Northwest Arkansas on Facebook and Instagram, or by email at flavorsofnwa@gmail.com.
Welcome back. It is time for the Mike Engleman Home Pro Tip of the Week. And for that, KG, sir.
Thank you.
I had to do it. Sorry.
No, absolutely. So one of the reasons I like Archie's and what we're doing is that in reality, I don't want to over-fancify what a sandwich is.
Mm-hmm.
I think anybody can. You can go very artisanal. You can make it a $30, $40 sandwich if you want to. And legitimately, you can make it expensive if you want to.
Sure.
Being affordable and value is something that we want to do, but also, at the end of the day, you've been working, you want something easy. I think sandwiches are such a common chef food for that same reason too. But you don't want to just do meat, cheese, and bread,
Right.
or you don't want to just grab what's left over in the fridge necessarily. And I think that's one thing that we've done here a little bit, and I would recommend absolutely at home, is definitely splash out on the spread or the condiments. I think that goes a long way. So, for example, we use Plokman's mustard and Duke's mayo. I think everybody knows Duke's. There are very nice premium stuff. It's not cheap, but the Plokman's mustard has a lot of horseradish in it, a lot of flavor.
Yeah.
We use a Calabrian relish. We make our own in-house chimichurri and pesto and stuff like that. You can do meat and cheese, but if you don't have like a good spread, it doesn't go very far in my opinion. So if you're gonna splurge on one thing for, say, sandwiches, or it's something that makes your sandwich feel a little bit different, get a really nice pesto, get a nice relish of some sort, that kind of thing, and it definitely go a long way. It doesn't matter what you put on it too, because spreads you can add to anything.
My wife is a 4th grade teacher and makes a sandwich before she goes to school every day. I'm gonna make sure she hears that part especially, right? She can do that. She'll like that. Appreciate it, man. We'll be right back.
Your story doesn't have to end. As an organ donor, the good in you can live on. In fact, you can save up to 8 lives through organ donation. Sign up to give the gift of life after you're gone. You'll be happy you did. Just maybe, someone else will too. Sign up online today as an organ, eye, and tissue donor at organdonor.gov. It saves lives.
OrganDonor.gov is the place to go to get signed up to be an organ donor. You guys know this, especially if you've listened or watched any episode of The Flavors of Northwest Arkansas. We're real big on that. January 26, 2022, I got the call saying, hey, we've got an organ for you. We got not an organ, we've got a kidney for you. And so we made that trip down to Dallas, and by 11:30 the next morning in downtown Dallas, I had a new kidney in my body. It was amazing. And that's all because someone got signed up. It's organdonor.gov. Of course, you can do it through the Health app on your iPhone. Very quick there, too. And you can go old school. I just got my license renewed 2 days ago because I found out that it had expired on my birthday a month ago. I know. So dumb. So if you're getting your license renewed, they will ask you, because they asked me, if you want to be an organ donor. And I just went, what do you think? They said yes. So organdonor.gov is the way to go. Be sure to get it when you get your license renewed at the Arkansas Department of Finance or the DMV if you're from anywhere else. Thanks as always. And we are back. It is Kevin Girkins here at Archie's Sandwichery, and we're ready to talk food. You ready?
Let's talk some food.
Let's get on into it. What was it like building out that first menu here?
I would say that
hectic.
If I only had original ideas, we'd never be where we are now, for sure. There's a lot of inspirational theft in restaurants, man, and I think that borrowing ideas from other people who are already successful is one of the foundations that we all kind of rely on.
Yeah.
And so, absolutely, I think that putting your own spin on things is important.
Sure.
But knowing how things are put together is important, absolutely.
Yeah.
But so much of what you come up with is really just borrowed from other things that you enjoy.
Yeah.
And so putting together the menu, I think from a food perspective, I definitely had an idea of what I wanted it to taste like.
Yeah.
Definitely had an idea of what I wanted price point to come in at.
Sure.
Also important. And so shopping around for your vendors and things like that is a humongous part of that. But I think the fun part was the naming, for sure.
Oh, got it.
I think that I wanted to have ingredients that were familiar to folks primarily, but then have a handful that were interesting and new. I don't personally feel like a lot of people around here know what a Calabrian relish is or a mortadella, things of that nature. But, but for the most part, everybody knows what turkey and cucumbers is and whatnot.
You bet.
But yeah, the naming part was a lot of fun, and I think that whether it be a staple of the menu, which is shreddus, and people, what's reduce? I don't know, what is this? You're getting fancy? And it's like, no, it's iceberg lettuce chopped up real thin now. Putting some fun spins on it gives that hopeful feel that we are serious about our product. We are bottom line driven is one of the ways we're able to create value for folks.
Sure.
But we can't take ourselves too seriously. So we've got
100%.
a handful of sandwiches that just have stupid names.
I think it's great.
Yeah, like our take on the Italian is the gabagool.
Which is awesome.
If you've ever watched Sopranos, you know what gabagool is.
Absolutely.
We've got the Sideshow Bob. You know, we got even our salad we call the Big Salad is a nod to Seinfeld, which I still continue to rewatch.
Sure.
So yeah, the names are kind of the part where we actually just get to let off the gas and not be so serious.
Yeah. I think that resonates with people, really. Don't you? I mean, people like to think they have a good sense of humor. They come and they see that, and they read through the menu, they're like, okay, these folks are like me. I kind of get that. That's great.
I sure hope so. I think, so one of the things that really, to that same point too, is one of the things that is fun as an operator, owner, and I hope for some of my staff too, is to walk through that experience with the customers and visually watch them have that moment of, crooked face, squinty eye. What is that? What are they trying to say there? Are they saying what I think they say?
Yeah.
And then also, like our drinks and our chips and things like that. We stock. We made a social media post about this recently, but like in our drink fridge, non-alcoholic stuff alone, not the alcohol at all. We deal with at least 5 different vendors to stock that fridge with items that you aren't going to find in other places.
It's a lot, yeah.
And same with the chips.
I've had a few of them, yeah.
Yeah, you get to watch that fun face transformation and guess just like,
look what I get to try.
It kind of becomes this novel moment for a lot of customers to try something new. And I think it's kind of fun, like whether or not it's something they repeat buy, it's a novel experience, which is very valuable, I hope, to people, because it is to us. And,
100%.
Hopefully we can keep that variety growing, just like the names of the sandwiches. We can cycle through some fun stuff and do monthly specials and create some more funny, dumb things that taste great.
That's great. That's the way to do it, man. That's great. That's so great. What is the most popular sandwich on the menu?
Yeah, so the most popular, I think, by a half mile at least, is your favorite as well.
The crispy boy?
The crispy boy, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
It's people love the turkey, the house pesto, the cucumbers and ruffles, and then of course all the other accoutrements.
Yeah, man.
It's a fun name. It's a fun sandwich that's easy to mentally digest as well. But there's nobody else around here, I think, putting ruffles or Doritos on sandwiches, and it's a very popular one for sure. The gabagool is a close second, and we've started doing those hot and toasted as well, which definitely brings out those Italian-style flavors and meats and things. But those two are up there by a long shot. And,
love it. I think probably the next step for me, and I haven't had it yet, as I've told you, I've only done Crispy Boy because, I don't know, man. I've tried to, over time, get some of my favorite places. And they're favorite for a reason, because we got a dish or two that's my favorite of that dish. But I've been working over the last couple of years to get outside of the
familiar zone,
the
comfort zone,
nurturing biosphere of what it is that I know, and get a little bit into the unknown. And I just haven't done that here yet, but I work on it. My wife is not the same way. She likes what she likes, and that's usually it. And I can definitely see that, because that's how I was. But so yes, I'm going to be a Millhouse person also. That's going to go on the Archie's resume for me.
Yeah, definitely. Give it a try. The Millhouse is our house avocado spread that we make.
Yeah, man.
Virtually 2-3 times a week. Bacon, it's chicken, and Havarti. I think for a lot of people, it's a familiar group of ingredients that we just put our own spin on, and
it's great.
Yet again, give it a goofy name.
That's great.
I would absolutely recommend the Counter Surfer as well. Now that we've started toasting, our house-made chimichurri really comes out great when you heat it. And
I don't know that I've had it heated. Now I think about it.
We've just started doing that in the past few weeks. We haven't advertised it at all, so we can kind of go through the natural growing pains of process.
You're about to now.
Yeah, exactly. But that's another one I would highly recommend. And Yeah, the only thing you got to watch out for is our chimichurri's got a lot of garlic.
Okay.
A little bit of spice. You're not going to want to have that on a first date.
Okay. All right. May have some now before I go home. I don't know. Maybe not. My wife's not going to take kindly to that. I'm totally kidding. So the Trash Panda. I saw the name and I had to do a little investigating, and looks pretty good. And I love the name.
It is good. I can attest. I've had it before.
I'm sure.
I think that a lot of our customers enjoy it as well.
Yeah.
Part of the fun on that is, I joked about this with previous friends as well, that it feels like Arkansas, whether they have created or adopted, I don't know, but it just feels like wherever you go, there's a pimento cheese dish or something that features pimento in the starters or whatever. And I just find it really weird that there's a cheese casserole, is the way I see it, on every menu. So to me, it's like, this is serious. Like, this is kind of gross. But at the same, like, I get it. People like it. I do too. But so that was a lot of the inspiration for the name. And as we like to say with all of our menu items, it pairs best with Nero de Vola or a Cabernet or something like that.
Right.
And that one, our little slogan is like, it pairs with anything, you filthy animal.
Perfect.
But yeah, the pimento is definitely the base. Bacon, ham, and Havarti cheese with pickles. It's got a lot of flavors going.
Awesome. Speaking of flavors, as you were saying that, I was looking over to make sure there wasn't any Malort to pair it with over there by chance.
No. I've never been much or really ever a bartender, and it's I've dabbled a little bit. I've never gotten into that trend.
No.
I know a lot of bartenders are into that for the past however long now, but it's not my jam. I can't take it.
Another chef here in Northwest Arkansas was the one that alerted me to it, and the greatest advertisement for Malort for when you want to fight your dad.
Well, maybe that's why I haven't gotten
into
it.
Hell yeah. Oh, man, you got so many more on here. The Sideshow Bob you talked about. The Big Baller. What a great name. It's a meatball sandwich, right?
Exactly, yes. The Big Ballers, in reality, I feel like it's pretty basic. It's meatball, marinara that we make in-house, oregano, Parmesan. It's actually the most basic sandwich that we have. But as far as hot sandwiches, it's very popular.
I don't know how much you want to mess with a really good meatball sandwich.
And that's what I've been told as feedback. Just don't mess with it. Don't fuck with it. So, I'm not a humongous meatball sandwich guy myself.
Understood,
But I've been very, the feedback and the amount of people that frequent for it has made me feel like I've done something halfway right.
Okay, good. Perfect. The Righteous One. Got to ask about that. Just got to ask.
Yes. So the Righteous One, another kind of
very creative.
Just, stupid name. Has nothing to do with the dish. But something that I've come to realize and seen in other places, caviar really doesn't take much to mess with. It takes a very low skill set to serve for the most part. I think that it's fun. People will spend money on it. I really love it. But for the most part, it's very simple. And I think that if we were to do a dish that uplifts our establishment or brings it into a slightly higher end version, but we can still keep it in the trailer park.
Yeah.
This is my version of it.
There you go.
So we do special plating for it,
great.
Unlike all of our stuff. But we do a special plating of caviar with creme fraiche, virtually a sour cream almost.
Sure.
And a bag of Ruffles. So you can complement the very high end with the very basic.
Love it.
And
love it.
Yeah, we usually pair that with a martini as well.
Okay. All right.
But it's been a fun one. It's one of those that I like to call the lost leader. If you're familiar with caviar at all, our dish, like I said, caviar, a 1 ounce serving, usually sturgeon or paddlefish, something like that. Caviar, 1 ounce serving, a martini, a bag of Ruffles and creme fraiche. We charge about $40 for that, and the caviar alone is well over $20. We don't make any money on that dish. It's a lost leader, the menu.
Yeah.
We do it because we really want to, not because we think it's what's going to make us rich.
Right.
You go anywhere and find caviar service for that cheap. It's pretty unusual.
Right. Awesome. You had talked about cocktails
Yeah.
and beer, and also wine. I mean, when people think of a sandwich shop, they don't necessarily think of a bar.
This is one of the ways that Archie's can hopefully differentiate as a company comparatively to other sandwich shops around the area or world, whatever, and hopefully give it a little bit more of a around the corner kind of feel. I would love it if people showed up to have a beer and they don't even necessarily want a sandwich.
Yeah.
You know, we want it to feel accessible.
Yeah.
And we've had a handful of customers that absolutely do just that, and that always kind of makes me smile a little bit.
Sure.
But otherwise, yeah, sandwich and a beer at the end of the day, man, what hits better than that? I'm sure everybody has their answer there, but but yeah, as I mentioned, I mean, I've never really worked too much as a bartender, so our menu is concise.
Sure.
It primarily revolves around martinis. We have 6 different martinis.
All right.
Which love. Definitely slept for martinis.
There you go.
Otherwise, just some basic stuff. We always keep some really nice Japanese whiskey around if somebody wants to, splash out a little bit. But otherwise, if you're gonna serve beer and wine in Arkansas, the annual license is very cheap in comparison to a lot of other places that I've been. In Central Texas, it can go upwards of over $10,000, or there's only so many. And that's annually, not just once, but there's only so many licenses in the area, so they kind of get grandfathered or passed down. For Arkansas, it's pretty inexpensive, so from even a business standpoint, it seemed like if we make one margarita a day, it's going to pay for itself and more.
How about that?
It was, I don't want to say no-brainer, because it adds a different skill set to the...
Sure.
And an age barrier of who can serve it, obviously, as far as staff goes.
Fair.
But it seemed like a really easy, why not kind of situation.
Yeah. Well, and I think especially with the built-in customers behind you, as you said, I would think that maybe this would be a good little kind of Wednesday, Thursday night little happy hour hangout before going back home.
I like to think so too.
Okay, good.
Some of our customers do as well.
All right, good.
Yeah.
Good. Perfect. Well, good little happy hour spot. You can never have enough of those. Man, I appreciate it very much.
Thank you very much. It's been my pleasure.
Yeah. Where can folks find you online?
So, Instagram is a very easy and popular way to find your local businesses. You can find us at Meet at Archie's, kind of like a MEET, meeting place.
Okay.
And otherwise, we've just launched our website finally today.
Nice. Today.
Literally this morning.
How about that?
And spent way too long proofreading, and I guarantee somebody's going to point out a typo in the near future.
Oh my gosh.
But
that's when you just blame ChatGPT.
But that is meetatarchies.com.
Okay.
Otherwise, 280 North Walton Boulevard is where we are. We're open 6 days a week. That's Wednesday through Monday. Tuesdays are one day off. We want to try and provide a space for people to go when everyone else is closed.
Right.
And then also have our staff also have the ability to go out to a nice place, whereas a lot of those are open on Tuesdays. But currently, 10 a.m. to 10 p.m.
Okay.
In the new year, 7 a.m. to 10 p.m.
Oh.
But I don't want to put a date on it yet.
Okay. So sometime in 2026.
Yes, yeah.
Okay. All right.
Not in the next 2 weeks.
Okay. Yeah. Oh. Well, if so, you're going to be very busy. Have early mornings. Man, I appreciate it.
Yeah. Thank you very much.
You got it. Flavors of Northwest Arkansas is on Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok. Please reach out to us there. That's going to do it for us. I hope you guys have a great week. We'll see you next week. By the way, we're getting really close to Christmas. I hope you got your shopping done. If not,
I definitely do not.
I don't either.
I got to work on that.
I don't either. Actually, this is, hold on, what's today's date? I'm trying to think of when this is going to go up. Let's see, this might be like right before Christmas. Okay, well, regardless.
In that case, definitely get your shopping done quickly.
Yeah. Merry Christmas. We'll see you next week. Have a great week. Bye-bye.